Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today is Wednesday and it is 12 noon and it's the noon report and I am your host, Dr. Ron. Welcome back for another episode. I tell you, got a few things to talk about today. First thing I'd like to do is give a shout out. Every time I go live, I have to give a shout out. I like to give a shout out to my mentor, Dr. Hunt. Dr. Hunt and I have been traveling in life together for 30 plus years. And out of those 30 plus years, he has been a blessing to both me and my family, as well as I have been a blessing to him and his family. So, the reason why I talk about mentors and mentorship as much as I do, because I want you to understand the value of a mentor. They are so great to have in your life that I try to encourage people to get a mentor, someone that can be in their life to help them with all of their questions and understand why this is this way and that's that way. A mentor can help you with that. So get a mentor, somebody that you can hold on to and be a blessing to. And then I want you to get a show and shout your mentor out every time you go live. Show them that you appreciate them by talking about them. Don't keep it a secret. Get a mentor and shout it out. Okay. So, like, I got to start out today. I've got a local news situation that I want to talk about. In the city of Country Club Hills, they have done something that is so crazy. You know, about 15, 20 years ago, the city built an outside venue and an outside venue that they didn't know what they were doing. And they got in over their head. They're a city government. They're not an entertainment entity. So for the past 20 years, the city has been losing money trying to put on productions. And now currently this concert season year, it's going to be the same thing. They don't know enough about the entertainment industry, let alone booking talent, production, all of the things that are involved with dealing with an entertainment venue. So the city manager and the mayor, Mayor Ford, and then the city manager's name is Carl. Yeah, I called him out by name. They are in over their head. They're not even able to take care of city responsibilities. Case in point, they have had the director of building code violations quit. And then, of course, after he quit, then all of the inspectors quit. So now the city is lacking in services when I used to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, man, I need you to come check this out because I know it's got to be a building code violation. And there's nobody there to answer the phone. So if the city would get back on track and do what they're supposed to be doing instead of trying to, be an entertainment venue operator, then they might be able to take care of their functionality. Now, let me just throw this in as a extra bonus on this scenario. The city mayor, who's supposed to be a full-time administrator over the city, makes close to almost $200,000 a year in salary. And then they hired a city manager who's supposed to be helping him with the day-to-day operation. But we're a very small community. They're paying him over $100,000 a year. So between the two of them, we're paying way too much money for a very small community. Okay, yes, the city is growing, is getting a little industry in here, but it's still not benefiting and providing services to the community. I've got a way out of control condo association. I mean, way out of control. They're so out of control that the city knows that they're out of control and won't do anything about it. Somebody needs to come and get these people reeled in, but they know about it, but they won't do anything about it. The residents of my community have gone up to the city council meeting and said, hey, we need help. Nobody has responded to their cries for help. So, city, get back to the function and responsibilities of running a city versus trying to be superstars running an entertainment venue. Then you're out of your league. Get out of that. I know they built it. They're still paying the debt on it. But at this point, you need to find somebody to take that rascal over. Let's talk about Trump. Since the last time I was on here, Trump got indicted, got arrested on 37 counts of federal charges, obstruction of justice. And I thought that was quite interesting, because they did several polls, CNN, New York Times, everybody did several polls to try and see how this affected his run for the presidency. Now, let's keep in mind that we know that the Republicans are dysfunctional. And every time something happens, they blame the Biden administration on it. Okay. They're like, oh, Biden's, DOJ is attacking the front runner. No, it has nothing to do with that. The man committed crimes. And I was looking at a CNN comparison. Like they had that young, airman or whatever he was in the military who took classified information and released it on the internet through Discord. Immediately, a SWAT team raided his house. Immediately, he was put in jail, refused bond. So that's a similar type offense. But because Donald Trump was a former president, they treated him a little bit differently. They allowed him to go to court on his own record and leave on his own record, didn't deny him bond, but he still got to stand charged. Now, from what I understand from reading some information this morning, the judge has they're trying to move this very fastly, a trial date for August. But according to the way the court systems work, the federal court system work, they don't move that fast. So of course his attorneys are going to have to, request a continuance. They're not ready yet. They need to go out there and play, let's not do this right now type games. And that's what they're in the process of doing. They're in the process of preparing argument to push this back even a little bit further. Now, they haven't given him a date in the Manhattan case yet, but interesting enough, I saw something on social media this week that there are many sitting members of Congress that have been the finger pointed at for the January 6th, try to take over January 6th. You remember that, y'all? January 6th. So Trump and all of his cronies are on the hot seat for January 6th. So it may be many of the sitting Congress people, including Marjorie Greene, Karen Marjorie Greene. I don't call her, that's all I see is a Karen. She acts up every chance she get. And then there are other people that act like Karen in the Republican Party that are on the hot seat for their involvement with January 6th. So it was many of them that knew, and many of them are involved, and many of them are going to be indicted. So stay tuned for that. Also, I found this quite interesting. I ran across this. DeSantis, the representative from New York, he was trying to fight to keep the people's name that posted the $500,000 bond for him to get out. They're going to release the name. So he was fighting, no, don't release the name. Don't release the name. And he opened his mouth, inserted foot once again, said, I'll go back to jail before I let you release the name. Well, the judge said, okay, well, we're going to have to release these names. So does that mean you're going to turn yourself in? So he hasn't responded as of yet of this, and this is as of an hour ago. So I'm waiting to see if he's willing to go sit in jail until it's time for him to go to trial on all the charges that they have him on in New York. Okay. So that's interesting. I love it when people talk trash and then all of a sudden they go, oops, open foot, insert, open mouth, insert foot. Now he doesn't want to talk about it no more. Okay, there's so many things to talk about in relationship to disasters in the world. We are now in the middle of doing a rescue in the ocean, in the deeps of the ocean, for a submarine that went down for a sightseeing tour to go see the ruins of the Titanic. And it's 5 people that are running out of air. They only had 40 hours worth of air on yesterday, and they have even less today. So they have called in some of the best National Guard, Coast Guard, everybody, Canada, all of the rescue personnel that specialize in deep sea rescue are there trying to help them. I think as of last night, they heard some type of tapping, so they might have located the vicinity of where this this submarine is at, and then it's the ability to be able to go down there and get them and bring them up to the surface. So that's going to be a very specialized, unique type rescue. So I expect we'll be hearing about it even the more. Excuse me. And they've got many other disasters in the world that have taken place. We talked about some of them in the past, but it's interesting that disasters happen and then it brings unity. What's it going to take to bring unity in the United States? Now, I want to talk about some of the Republican. I ran across this. Let me bring this up. There was immediately after Donald Trump had been arrested. Everybody loves to give up polls, on what they think everybody's people opinions are. And they poll the Republicans, they poll the Democrats, and it looks as though some of the Republican support is starting to die down. It looks as though that the Republicans are not willing to make Donald Trump their front runner anymore. Because you got to remember, we still have a primary where you get the selection from the selection committee to be the candidate to run. Now, on a couple of polls that I saw, many of the candidates have about 4% equally across the board. The governor of Florida, he was the closest to Donald Trump with maybe 40 or 20%. And Donald Trump had more than that. But since his arrest, those numbers have begun to go down. And all of the candidates with 4% are doing the right thing. They are telling the truth about Donald Trump and his inability to be president. Now, I think the motivation for Donald Trump is always selfish. We know this because he's Donald Trump. So he feels as though if he becomes the president, he will not have to go to jail right away because no sitting president can go to jail. But I don't think that he can beat, President Biden. I don't think he can beat him. I don't think any Republican candidate will be able to run up against um, President Biden. Now, lately, got to do this to be fair. The Republicans are using the fact that they did a 5-year deep dive investigation on Hunter Biden, and they feel like he got a slap on the wrist because the only thing that they can find through that deep dive was that he was late on his taxes, and he was also had a gun in his possession when he was going through drug rehab. So those are the only two things that they can find. Now, it was no, mystery that he had a drug problem, but he's been in rehab. So all of a sudden, out of character, the federal government came up with, oh, you have possession of a gun while you're going through drug rehab and had a drug problem. So that's not usually something that the federal government will bring against a person. But because of the pressure of the Republican Party to find something to charge this man with, they brought charges. They brought charges, because he didn't pay his taxes on time. You know how many people don't pay their taxes on time? But because he is a relative of President Biden, they wanted to punish somebody in his family. Well, let's flip that around. Let's look at the family members of Donald Trump. His daughter, all of his children, all of them, even the baby, is responsible for taking money from the federal government that they should not have taken, and they have not officially been charged. Matter of fact, many of them that were under investigation, they began to pull back from the limelight so that they don't have the light on them right now, just their dad. But Donald Trump has a history of throwing people under the bus, and he will throw his children under the bus just as fast he would throw his lawyers and anybody else. So his children are not safe at all at this moment in time from being persecuted or prosecuted by the DOJ. And according to the facts, the president does not run the DOJ. He does not tell them what to do on a daily basis. They go after crimes where they see them and that they can prosecute, and that's what they do. That's their job. Okay. So you can believe all the hype if you want to. Yes, Donald Trump was president, and he tried to get the Department of Justice to do stuff that they couldn't do. So why is it different now that Biden is president? So, don't believe the hype. Look at the facts, just the facts. Understand the facts and allow the facts to help you make decisions on what story makes sense to you or not. Okay. I got one last thing that I want to talk about today, and that's Juneteenth. Now, we just had a Juneteenth holiday, which was a state and federal holiday on this past Monday. Now, I understand that what Juneteenth means. It's a symbolic celebration to acknowledge the fact that Texas, the state of Texas, did not free the slaves until 2 years after they were supposed to be freed. So they got 2 extra years of free labor out of them and torture and punishment. And then the United States government found out about it, sent troops to Texas to free them. Now, I feel like if you're going to give us a holiday like Juneteenth, you need to give us a check to go along with it. Okay? Yeah, I said it. I'm going to say it again. You need to give us a check. So if you have persecuted us for slavery as long as you did, and even longer, and you've abused and had massacres, because you were not going to allow Black people to excel and exceed as they can, you need to give us a check. I just believe that a check should come along with dealing with Juneteenth. I believe every year on Juneteenth, every Black family should get a check. If we can send billions of dollars to Ukraine, they can send Black folks a check. You know where we are. You know who we are. Every Juneteenth, they need to give us a check in honor of our ancestors. Okay. Now I know this is not going to be popular. They're not going to win a vote. Europeans going to be like, why are we giving them a check for what? Because this country, the United States of America, the Republic, has abused our ancestors, and you acknowledge it now by giving us a holiday. Well, yeah, they was in slavery a couple of years after. Well, where's our check? Give us some money. Every year, they should be releasing funds to us for our ancestors and the abuse and the atrocities that have come down on us as a people in this country. Okay. So that's the last thing I got for today. I want to invite you guys to think about if you would like to have a show on Street News Now. I want you to reach out to me, the administration. Go over to streetnewsnow.com. When you get over there, fill out the form and tell us what kind of show you'd like to have. And somebody in the administration will get back in touch with you and help you work out the logistics for starting your show. Now, we got about 4 or 5 shows in the incubator right now that are being talked about, and things that we're going to do in the upcoming future. So time slots will be taken up very quickly. So if you're interested in being a part of the Street News Now family, please, 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 do so. Reach out to somebody. And then I also want you to be sure and where is it? Okay, there we go. Subscribe, like, and share. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. The little button right there that says subscribe, like, and share. So please definitely reach out and be a part of what we're doing here in the Street News Now family. So be sure and tell somebody to reach out, and we will be more than happy to get back in touch with them to help them get their show up and going. So that's it for this week. We're going to get out of here. This has been the Street News Now Noon Report. I am your host, Dr. Ron, and I want you guys to tell somebody about what we're doing over here. I tell you, we're having a growing curve right now, and I just want to get you guys involved in the growth. So definitely reach out. We got time and space for you. We can make it happen. So you guys be careful and think. Please don't believe everything that these folks tell you blindly. Think. You better think. Ain't that what Aretha said in that movie, The Blues Brothers? You better think before you decide to make a move. Think. Okay? You guys stay safe. See you all next week. And I'm looking forward to, seeing you guys come on next week. Peace.